and leave the recorder onto the real tech thing.
Yeah, I know, it's fucking idiots do that.
Yeah.
It pisses me the fuck off. And then you have to go back and re-record them, but because of life, things get in the way. We still haven't done those recordings, which is why we've got to rush it tomorrow, but I don't know who we're talking about. It's me.
So back to Daddy's question, why is Matt Logan always late?
Basically what happens is Matt Logan believes that things don't take as long as they do.
Yeah.
Right? And because he works in Logan time, which is a time outside of time.
It's like Jew time.
It's different. It's different. It's a time outside of time and Jew time.
Time outside of time and Jew time.
It's a time outside of all time.
A time outside of all time.
And basically,
what did Stephen Hawking try to assess this
Stephen
Logan
Hawking's
time? And look,
Stephen
he started, and look what happened to him this week.
He never.
Look what happened to him, Matt. It's your fault.
What happened was he gave me a phone call, and then did.
Oh, God bless him. I love him though.
Yeah, seriously.
Anyway, let's play our new intro.
Yeah, we should play our new.
Drunk blokes, oh won't you come and be a drunk bloke? We've got some sherry from the little bargain bin, where girls with baby cars shop in their pyjamas. Chaps, drunk blokes, oh come and listen to them drunk blokes. The only one recorded in a motorhome, with Pumba making tea spiked with whiskey. Drunk blokes, you're probably already a drunk bloke. In which case let's sit down and see what happens next. We don't think that they've got arrested yet, or banned from any public events this year.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to a new episode of Dem Drunk Blokes Talk Shit.
Them drunk blokes talk shit, and we are ill.
Yeah, we're all ill. We're all dying.
As a collective, we are actually sick.
Yeah.
Our kids are sick. We're sick. Everyone is just sick.
Yeah. It's sick, bruv.
Yeah, but not good sick like PH fat. We're like bad sick. Like my eyes are squeaking when I sneeze. Sick. It's weird.
He's got a squeaky face.
So that's what's been going on with me this week.
Right, so yeah, this week, obviously we're taking a little break from doing D&D stuff. Hope you're enjoying that. Alright, avid adventurer Fuck Knuckle.
Fuck Knuckle.
Fuck Knuckle. He
Two
will
sheriffs.
Yeah.
He'll be returning, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so the idea with that
He didn't
one...
die.
The idea of that one is he will reoccur in small mini adventures, meeting characters that we've played in our main games.
Yeah, man.
And get up to some other kind of debauchery and misdemeanors and all sorts of crazy stuff. So he will return, and we've got some other stuff to release, and Luke's on that. So yeah, all good. That being said, on the D&D front, I'll just drop it in here, I suppose. One evening about a month ago, I got really pissed and was up at about 4 o'clock in the morning and spoke to a nice American guy on Skype and recorded it, all about D&D. So I'll put that in here. Enjoy. Okay, so here we were supposed to have the interview with DM Dango, the lovely American man. But I've decided, due to the fact that I didn't realise how drunk I was and how long the interview lasted, I'm going to put it after the end of the episode. So if you are interested in DM Dango and what he's been doing with the DMs Guild, if that's your thing, just continue listening all the way through after the outro, and you'll hear him there. Enjoy.
What a nice American guy on Skype.
That was
talking about D&D.
Yeah, so that happened. That fills out some time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're really not feeling well today. No, but what have we been up to? I'm trying to think.
Well, let's go into computer games.
That's what we've been up to.
You're back on computer games, or a computer game.
I am back on a computer game, yeah. So, Pumba convinced me, what was it, a few weeks back, to basically do an old school retro, 2 TVs, 2 consoles in the living room like we did when we were kids, which sounded like a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun. So, apart from the fact that I had to spend 45 quid on a game and lug my TV and PlayStation all over to his so that I could have this retro experience.
It was fun.
But it was fun. It was well worth it. And yeah, that was Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter World,
Monster
PS4.
Hunter World on the PS4, which still is brilliant. I'm really enjoying it. It's not boring.
No. It's frustrating, but the good kind of frustrating that makes you want to do it some more.
Yeah, you just keep going back and keep trying to fucking get better and stuff and look more pimped out.
Yeah. And if you want to see how pimped we are, hopefully later on it'll be on the YouTube channel once I can sort out how to get it from our Twitch channel to our YouTube channel. But we'll be twitching some more stuff as well, hopefully.
We will be.
And getting that up and running.
Doing some Monster Hunter Twitch.
Yeah, Monster Hunter Twitch.
Which should be fun. It's all so far from what I've played with it, I'm only Monster Hunter rank 8, I think I was last night when we was playing.
Yeah, I think I'm like 16.
Yeah, so we're still like kind of at the early stages of it from where you can go, because obviously we've seen people at like 200 and something and like 170 something Dalek. But we've been playing. We've been fortunate enough that we've got a couple of friends that are really good at it that have jumped in with us. Or one in particular that's jumped in and helped us through the beginning parts of it anyway.
Yeah, the guy that made our new flashy intro, Dalex Sex, shout out to him.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be going on our very first test run of the DDBmobile, so go and see him, but life and stuff got in the way.
Life is sometimes just
Stuff.
all up in your face and in the way.
Yeah, up in faces and stuff and life.
But we've been playing that quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed.
So
I enjoy the dynamics of it. It's very different. It's something I'm not used to doing, because obviously in most games that I've always played, especially games that are like this, like fantasy based, it's on like a leveling system, and you level up and you upgrade your skills and your own techniques and traits. But in this one, essentially, if you took someone at the highest monster rank and put them in the worst armour, and then took someone at the lowest monster rank and put them in the worst armour, they're exactly the same.
Well, it becomes down to skill then.
Yeah, then it's just down to skill and how good you are. It's literally all about upgrading your shit.
Yeah, looking as pimp as possible.
Yeah, basically it's about pimping your shit out.
Yeah.
And that is how you become better at the game.
Yeah, so rather than the average level up, as Matt was saying, you get rid of all the levelling up system. Don't worry about leveling up your strength, your fucking constitution, none of that.
All that.
Yeah, you literally just pick your weapon set.
They've left the whole D&D attribute system in the dirt.
Yeah.
They've gone, we don't need this anymore.
We don't need that.
We don't need that.
We'll give you about like a customization option just to make how you look at the beginning that lasts about, an hour or so. Make yourself look good.
It didn't last that long for me.
Make cat look good. It still took you about half hour.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not the sort of person that pays much attention
Yeah,
to that sort of thing.
Half hour to make you and a cat, and then as soon as you start, give you a shit ton of armour that covers you all up, so you never see yourself again. It's fucking amazing.
It's good, yeah. You go into that, and then you slowly learn about it. The more you learn, as it's gone on, the more I've obviously learned about it, the better it's become. You have to do a bit of grinding. It's a very grindy game. Getting out there, defeating the monsters to get the equipment to upgrade your armour so that you can go and fight stronger monsters, etc. It's back and forth.
Yeah.
It's a better version of Destiny. I never played Destiny 2, so a lot of people might disagree with me here, but I think it's better than Destiny, at least.
Yeah, the way they've done the
Because I did play
grinding sort of style of it.
It's less boring.
Yeah, you don't feel like it's a hassle to go and grind. Every time's different. And the thing is as well, like the monsters you fight, it's an ecosystem. So they do get, if they're an older monster, they'll get bigger in size. So say if like there's the engine ant, it's like a T-Rex, right?
Yeah.
So that, when you fight it the first time,
And
you
when
see...
it gets pissed off, it gets wings.
Yeah, it gets like 3 stages. It gets a big fucking nose and some wings, but it doesn't actually fly. They're just like aesthetic wings.
Yeah, it's like T-Rex arm wings.
Yeah,
Completely useless.
So then
Oh,
you
shit.
got that happens. So you'll fight that one the first time, and then when you get a little bit further on in the game, you'll fight an older one, and it's like triple the size. And like whereas before you was bashing it in the head quite easily, now you can only hit its knee because it's too big.
It's too big now. There is an awful lot of skill that goes on with this game.
Yeah.
Knowing and your own ability to know the monsters and recognise the monsters. It goes a lot on what you know.
Yeah.
So
it's got that Souls element in it, really. You know, like Dark Souls, where you
can't just run in there with a fire element based weapon and attack something, because it could turn out to be fire element based monster and you're fucked.
It's not even just that. It's like you can still do it if you know the moveset. Like the Jagras, I've killed so many great Jagrasses now that I can literally run up to any size Jagras and probably not get hit while killing it, because I know when it does this thing with its head, it's about to do the belly roll, so I can get out of the way of that. And if it rears up, it's going to then charge and stuff like that. So
not like that fucking Redaband that I fought last night, which is a cunt. An absolute cunt. I had to do it twice, right? Because basically my game, for some reason, didn't save the information, so I had to do it all over again. And the first time I did it, you can't call any of your mates in to help you on this one, which is annoying. It's one of the only ones you can't actually have any help with.
I don't know any of the others.
Yeah. And it's not an easy fight. If you've never played before, you've never played a Monster Hunter before, you've never played the game before, you have no idea, this thing's rolling around and smashing into you and shit. I think at one point I hit it 4 times and fainted 3 times. So, yeah, weren't doing too great.
If we to describe it, it's like a fucking giant elephant with no trunk that rolls around in bones and wears the bones as spikes.
Yeah, as armour.
And then rolls around like a hedgehog, sort of just flattening you everywhere.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a cunt to fight, really.
Yeah, do you know the bit I'm on? There's like its older brother. And instead
an older brother.
Instead of having
That's
spikes,
good to know.
Instead of having spikes, it rolls around and shoots little like exploding pods everywhere.
That's really shit. I'm not looking forward to that.
Although you don't have to fight it on your own, so it's a bit easier.
Oh, that's all right. Oh, well, in that case, brilliant. No, fucking, that was awful. There are some proper, those moments where you're gritting your teeth, just barely holding onto the controller because you want to throw it at the TV. A couple of times, and I'm like I say, I'm only at the fucking beginning of the game, so God knows what the fuck is some of the bigger monsters I was playing on.
You haven't come across like Angelamp's probably the most recognisable one you've come across so far, but you've got the Raffian, the Rathalos, the Diablos, the Nergigante. These are all like big fuck off dragons that actually fly around. They poison, they fire. They burn you, they electrocute you, they stun you, they do all sorts of shit.
Oh, fuck my life.
But you're not on your own then, and it is refreshing. Like, you can try it on your own a couple of times, and then...
It's not an on your own game.
I think you can, but it would be more like a Souls type effect, where you've got to like really try and go...
I think I'm just hearing things, because my ears are so blocked. It's a joke, sorry, go on.
So like I said, you could do it like a Souls game. Just keep going and dying, learning the technique every time, just getting a little better.
Yeah, or do what I did and go, fuck the melee weapons, I'm getting a gun. I got the gun, stood as far away as I could and let my cat fight it. So my cat was bashing it on the head with his little hammer, and I was sitting in the back firing weapons. At peace, never getting hit. And it took me ages, but I didn't care, because I didn't faint, and it died. So fuck the Redaband. Fuck it right in the ear.
Yeah. I think what we'll get you a t-shirt printed up for our things. It'll be "Them Drunk Blokes, Logan X, fuck Redaband."
That was a cunt, right?
I remember playing with you the first time. Well, we was in party chat, me and the Night Beast, who you might hear later with a review of a board game he's played for us.
Yeah.
I was playing with him and Matt was in the chat, and literally all you could hear was fucking cunt, and then he actually did it and he was like, yeah, fucking die, you prick.
Yeah, and then I had to do it again.
Yeah, and then you had to do it
again. Yeah, because he didn't save, so it was a bitch. So make sure you save lesson of the day.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you shouldn't have to.
Logan's Hunty Tip.
Logan's Hunty Tip. Remember our very first episode, the Pokemon Go tip?
Pokey tips. Now I'm going to start calling them Hunty Tips.
I've got to be saying, like, it is very Pokemon-esque, really, isn't it?
It is pretty much, yeah, you do. You go and you fight, you battle the monster.
You've got a tiny little furry shit companion.
Yeah, furry shit companion. You fight the monster and then you eat. But the difference is on this one, you can have no mercy and kill the fucker if you really didn't like it.
And chop it to pieces and then wear its carcass as armour.
Yeah, which is basically what we mean by grinding. You steal scales and horns and stuff like that off of them once they're dead, and then you make better armour from it.
Armour and weapons. And it's like, there's arena missions as well, where we were sitting there, where you basically, you capture one of these things, and then you can choose to fight it in an arena situation where it's got nowhere to run away. And you kind of feel like a dick, because you batter it within an inch of its life and it's like limping away, and you're like, fucking die! You're just chopping it up in a small area. It's like the Japanese version of bullfighting.
Yeah, except less actually inhumane, because it's only digitally animated and not actually a bit cunty like what the Spanish do. You know.
Yeah, well, you still feel a bit of a cunt sometimes, especially with
but you can always remove yourself and go, it's just a game.
But it's dead.
Whereas in bullfighting, you're like, I'm still a cunt.
Yeah, but then you go, beef burger.
But do they use it for meat after?
I don't know.
This is a catch up in the Soul Matter.
Yeah, we've later on today, or later on this episode, we should have Lefty No Hands Lee popping in for a little chat about what's going on with the network. I had something else to talk about as well.
What else did you have to talk about?
In the world of video games.
Video games,
Fortnite. No, you don't even know what Fortnite is.
Oh, no, yeah, you just said this to me just before we started.
So Fortnite is a bit of a phenomenon at the minute.
Phenomenon.
A phenomenon. Do you know PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds? Do you know PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds? That's battle royale system. You like land on an island.
Oh, PlayerUnknown, yeah. And it keeps getting smaller. I've watched loads of that online.
Right, so
Fortnite, I love watching it because it's funny.
Fortnite is a free version of that. It's a little bit more cartoony, but you can build as well. So you're not just shooting, you can build like walls and structures and hide and ladders to climb mountains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
On
what?
It's free. It's free on PS4, Xbox, and now, which is what I was about to talk about, mobile phones.
It's on mobile.
It's on mobile, and I played it earlier, and it actually plays really well.
Oh, right.
100 people against, like, you have to sign in with your PS4, so you're playing with people on the PS4 with your mobile. Yeah.
Oh, cool, I like that.
Yeah, it's really fun. Clarky Snap, big shout out to Clarky of the Gamers Confessional Pod. He got us invite code for it, so I've now got it on my phone, and I had a little go. Very good. I'll try and get you an invite code, and you can have a go as well. And maybe, listeners, if you want to go, drop us an email or a tweet, and I'll try and get you an invite code if you can't get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can get it on the PS4 for free.
Yeah.
Is it one of those games where you can buy shit, though, as well?
No, because what it is, there's an actual main game, which is like a zombie survival game in a team, where you have to go out, get resources, build a base, and defend from hordes of zombies.
Right,
and that costs. But this Battle Royale version was like an afterthought because PlayerUnknown was really big.
Yeah.
They sort of added it in.
Fuck it, we'll just do that.
Yeah, and it's free, and it's quite fun. But you can't like customise your player or anything like that. You just get a random player every time.
Oh, right.
And it's like what you find in the mission. So there's no like uneven start.
I really want to get that Battlegrounds game. It looks really good.
I like the idea of it, but I think it looks a bit too serious for me. Whereas the Fortnite is really fucking stupid.
Overwatch-esque.
Yeah, no, it's even stupider.
Oh, cool.
Like, not Overwatch has got like a little serious twinge to it, although it's cartoony. Yeah. Fortnite is very, very silly. Like instead of flying over in a plane at the beginning, you're in a giant party bus held up by balloons that's just floating over the island, and like all the everyone's raving inside, and you just choose when to jump out.
I like this. I'm gonna have to give this a go. Actually, yeah. I will be. I'll be getting that. Just you're getting me back into the console gaming, aren't you?
Yeah.
This is your dastardly plan all along.
Not really dastardly, but it's like you can sit on your PC and play with your PC friends, or you can come and play with the Dem Drunk Blokes crew.
I don't have any PC friends.
Exactly. So now I
literally sit there playing games by myself on PC.
Playing games, yeah, not watching porn.
Being introvert. Why are you being like that?
What?
That's unnecessary.
Well, it's true.
Got to lower the tone.
It's Dem Drunk Blokes. Of course we've got to lower the fucking tone. Right, so... that happened. What else has been going on? In the world of video games, Dark Souls is going to be released for the Switch. Really,
we're going to lose Dalex Sex off of Monster Hunter World pretty soon then.
Oh, he would just play it on his way to work. I mean, he'd just kick the fuck out of it on his way to work and then play Monster Hunter when he comes home, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right, the games will probably complete it in a day anyway.
Well, I don't want to... I'm really against getting it on the Switch. I really want to get it on the Switch, but it's like, I don't want to launch my Switch down the tube train. Fuck you! Boom! Just frisbee the Switch into some poor fucking commuter's face.
I just haven't even bothered with Dark Souls. I played that game that's close to it. What was it called?
Which one? There's a few Dark
Souls.
Souls.
You play the little knight. You play the knight. He's a knight in it. I don't know. Fucking hell. Like, whatever.
There's a few. There's Bloodborne,
No.
which is free at the minute. That's a good
I
one.
didn't play that.
Lords of the Fallen.
That's the one I played. Lords of the
Viking-esque
Fallen.
one.
I played Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah, that's a bit...
And I fucking did that game just do my fucking brain in.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's that same sort of thing where you just end up repeating the same game over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Dark Souls is it's not Demon Souls. Demon Souls, the first one that came out, that was fucking hard. Like, that was silly hard.
Yeah.
Dark Souls give a little bit of... They realised how hard it was. They had the same premise, but they went, all right, we'll rein it back in a little bit.
It's got a bit of give.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
I've still seen people fucking proper...
Well, that was in the news. If you follow us
Raging out.
on Facebook, a Dark Souls expert played through Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, twitched it all, and he didn't get hit once.
What?
Hit.
That's bullshit.
He didn't get hit. I was like, fucking hell. Could you imagine, like, going Dark Souls 1, playing through, yep, done that one, Dark Souls 2, playing through, not been hit, start Dark Souls 3, fuck, all the way back to Dark Souls 1.
That's awful. That's an awful... No.
That's not awful, that's skill.
That's
Pure skill.
Yeah, right. I'll give it to him. Fucking hell. That's immense.
Yeah.
Just to be able to do that is fucking ridiculous. Because I play at Lords of the Fallen, I just remember just dying consistently.
I think
over and over, and eventually I just like, do you know what, this game's shit. And then everyone was like, that's actually just a bad version of Dark Souls.
Yeah, Lords of the Fallen wasn't that good.
Yeah, they were like, oh, it's a bad version of Dark Souls. And I was like, well, I don't want to play Dark Souls.
But the thing is,
I don't want to die all the time. I want to win.
Yeah, that is the biggest problem with you. You're like constantly winning, but it's like, or constantly trying to win. But the thing with Dark Souls is like, there's this thing that when you start playing it, there's a load of people. If you look on the YouTube videos, they're like, listen, you're gonna die, but like, just accept it. It doesn't mean anything. Like, it's gonna annoy you, but just carry on. It's part of the game.
But then I've seen those big juggernaut things as well. Everyone talks about these juggernauts.
Yeah.
They're just up in a juggernaut armour and just bowl through everything.
Yeah, but that's the point. You grind up enough and know the weapon set. I mean, if you go to Dalek's YouTube channel, Sex talks about apps.
Yeah.
He's got some of his playthroughs on there, like no armour.
No armour, two crossbows, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was him playing Bouncybhall. Because Bouncybhall obviously did not shoot the ghost in the neck with the crossbow. So he went and took on a dragon with two crossbows. It's a kind of goose. It's long-necked.
It's what Goose is derived from.
Yeah.
If you've some sort of weird twisted mythology somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone knows all ghosts are dragons in disguise.
Yeah, originally their ancient ancestors were
fire-breathing.
Yeah.
Wyvern.
That's it. That's why they're so angry all the time. Like, proper angry about it. They're like, look what we've fallen to. Look what we've come to. Eating bread.
We used to eat princesses, now we're eating bread.
Yeah.
Now we're eating princess dough.
Oh, God. Well, that veered off course. Congratulations to me again for doing that. No. We've got Dark Souls 3 then. That's coming up.
Yeah,
anything else
Dark Souls
interesting?
3's out. Dark Souls 1 remastered on the Switch.
That's the
and
one that's coming out. Right,
yeah.
On the Switch.
And they've got an amiibo. They've got a Praise the Sun amiibo that I really want to get, but I don't know how to get it.
They'll probably be like, you have to buy Dark Souls.
Yeah, and then
you'll get it.
And then I'll have to buy another Switch.
Then you'll throw the Switch down the tube at someone's face because they smell funny because they're on the tube. Because everyone stinks on the tube.
Yeah.
I fucking hate the tube.
I love the tube. I applied for a job to drive the tube. 2 nights a week, right? Friday night, Saturday night. That's all you work every week. 25 grand a year.
I need to apply for the tube.
I'll send you the link. Not bad.
No, yeah, that's good. I
Yeah,
like that.
just night shift. So it saved me working on the doors. And then you just go, finish Friday, Saturday, 25 grand a year. With holidays, overtime and everything else. And I can carry on my weekday work.
Far too much money on the tube.
Yeah.
Is what we've derived from this conversation.
Yeah. People that drive the tubes in London, you get paid too much. Come on, share the wealth.
What else is going on?
What else is going on in the world?
There is one thing that's going right. GGL, Good Great Logan X.
The
Obviously,
Good, the Great and the Logan X. Yes, give us an update on that.
We missed our release date this Thursday.
Yeah.
Because this is when the next one was meant to come out, which
Right.
was this Thursday just gone. I don't know what the date is today.
It's Patrick's Day, 17th of March.
That's it, 17th. So, like,
How could you not know that?
there you go. So, a few days
You're
before
Irish.
this, a few days before this, mate, I'm not been with it. Because of life, as
Yeah.
we say, getting up all in your face and
Yeah,
fucking
being life.
things up. So we've actually missed a release date. So now we are recording tomorrow,
Yeah.
which is the 18th of March.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll be releasing
Next Thursday.
maybe we should get some content done to release maybe the next 3 weeks in a row.
All right,
That's
cool.
what we're hoping to get a load of content out there. We might even be, because we know that the Smurf Rider is on holiday next weekend.
What a wanker.
Yeah, what a wanker, tiny wanker.
What a wanker.
He's actually tinier than Tiny Tony Danza.
Is he? Is he though?
He is.
Is he?
Yeah, not skinny. He's,
Yeah, all right.
he's
Short.
fat. He's short fat.
Short and fat.
Yeah, that's
same
right.
body mass, just
Same
in a
body-
different.
same. Just different dimensions. So we've got him. He's away. So me and Dan might try and record something next weekend, which is following in with our theme of Marvel. We're going to go over the Netflix series.
Jessica Jones.
Because Jessica Jones has just dropped. So we might also just do one with me and the comics guy based on the Marvel Knights, which is all your Hell's Kitchen people.
Right.
Just to give you a little bit of extra content, because we know that people have been enjoying listening. We've been getting a steady following.
Yeah.
And people obviously want more stuff. As I say, do apologise, we haven't been able to get it out there. There has literally been one fuck up after the other that has basically led to the fact that we haven't been able to release this week. So next week and the week after, probably going to get some decent content out there. A little bit of the back to the original Marvel run that we were doing with the three next films, and a Marvel Knights following the next flicks. And obviously, when Scott gets back, we're still going to continue with the date nights. Wow.
Oh, dear. Right, so that's that. Talking about the comic book guy. Comic book guy. Do you remember Nicky and Ian of the House of Geek podcast?
We do remember.
Yeah.
We've done an interview with them.
We did an interview with them. Well, since they've done the House of Geek, they are now the official podcast of the Lakes International Comics Art Festival.
Wow.
And they've got a lot of stuff going on, and hopefully, round of applause to you. And they've been going a year now. So, shout out to them, and hopefully, well, depending on how this is, I'm basically going to go, me and Dan, the comics book guy, we're going to interview them.
Me and Dan, the comic books man.
We're going to interview them too, Monday, and hopefully, if everything works out, you'll be able to hear that interview now. You won't hear that interview now due to the fact that this episode's fucking long. So, what we'll do is on Monday, we'll have the interview and release it as an interview special. An interview comics art festival podcast special with Nicky, Ian and the comics book guy. Yeah, look forward to that. Hopefully, it should be good. We're saying, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, go listen to stuff. So hopefully that was Nicky and Ian.
And if it wasn't, you
Then-
won't even know because it had been edited out.
No, I'm going to leave this bit in. I'm just going to put something in, like an advert for him or something. But if we didn't get the interview done, that very good interview we just had, or if it wasn't, it's not
If there wasn't an interview with Dan the comic books man,
Right, so and if I can't edit it in there, or if I decide to get this released out, that interview will be in the next episode, or I might even release it as its own little mini episode at some point. So you can look forward to that, ladies and gentlemen.
Just for sheets and gigs.
Sheets and gigs. Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Here comes the illness.
Right.
It's cold. It is actually freezing in here.
It is. I'm warming up. Have you noticed I'm moving around quite a lot? Obviously, you ain't listening. They can't see me moving around a lot, but I'm driving. What else is happening? So,
Jazz hands.
Right, we obviously are still attending Ambush. We are going to try and get out to see Dalek soon to test run the DDB Mobile idea.
Yes.
We've got a few little bits going on like that. All fingers crossed. I hear We Are the Lollicoast have started up their WordPress blogging again.
What?
Yeah, so go check them guys out. Because Bouncy's back on form.
Fuck you, go Bouncy.
So hopefully we can get Bouncy back in.
Don't kick that ball.
Hopefully in future. Well, actually, I think I might have something of Bouncy's to put in now. So enjoy the subtle tones of Bouncybhall.
Bookcase. Not a bookcase, but a book. A case, a board game box, a book box. Hello there, Bouncybhall here with a roundup of my tabletop adventures of 2017. And by tabletop adventures, I don't mean that time I got thrown out of IKEA for doing something with Dirty Susan. Anyway, I've picked out 5 games that I've played quite a lot of this year. Now, I'm not saying these are all brand new games of the year. Of course they're not. But hey, it's tabletop. We can play things that were made in the 1970s and pretend that they're still new. Really, really good games that have been around for a while. Not Monopoly. That's shit. Anyway, here are 5 games I played this year a lot. Mostly with my children, because I don't really get out much at the moment, and I don't have a lot of friends who play tabletop. And people like Postman Gav who always say, "Oh, we'll arrange something." Yeah, it just doesn't happen very often. And when he does come around, we want to play Spyfall, but he doesn't like Spyfall because he's rubbish at it. Like, once couldn't even work out that churches don't have an upstairs. Very weird. Anyway, 5 games I played in 2017 quite a lot. First up, King of Tokyo. Bloomin' heck, isn't King of Tokyo great? I've got a few of the expansions now, including the Thulu expansion set. And it's great. It's really great when you've got a dice. What are they called? I'm sure dice tray is the right word. It doesn't sound right coming out of my head. But anyway, with a dice tray. Things like that. And, zombie dice. There we go, yeah. Games like that, they're so much better with a dice tray. No, I have almost too much neuroses about dice falling on the floor to ever not have a tray anymore. So, yeah, King of Tokyo, played a lot with the kids. It's good because you can kind of go easy on people if you want to. You can kind of play a non-aggressive approach, which is quite good when playing with family. And, I think it's one of the simplest bits of game design that I've played in recent years, and I really like it. I also really like giant monster movies, punching the crap out of one another. They do a Shin Godzilla add-on. Oh, they really need to get on the Godzilla license and do a proper licensed Toho King of the Monsters game, because that'd be so good. Played an awful lot of that. Similarly, also played quite a lot, probably too much of Rhino Hero. Incredibly cheap game, like £7. It's essentially a card version of Jenga, and I don't mean like playing cards. I mean literally the building is made out of folded pieces of cardboard. You draw a card and you have to build the next floor on this building and put a little wooden rhino meeple thing on the building, and it's really, really good. It's basically Jenga, but without the stress that you're going to have some sort of finger injury when it falls on you inevitably. There's a lot less mess to clear up, and it doesn't take 3 hours to get back in the box like Jenga does. Highly recommend it. There is an expansion which I'm hoping to get this year, but Rhino Hero was just, sometimes you'll open a box and you'll be like, wow, this looks absolute horseshit, and you play it like, this is absolute brilliant. Some people might think this is horseshit, not me. I'm obviously able to look at the game and judge it. Basically, I think I bought it because it was in a top 10 games under a tenner, and somebody asked me what my children would like as a little gift, so that's what we got, and it's great. Ticket to Ride, been playing quite a bit of Ticket to Ride, the American version, but with the 1912 expansion, so we've got the proper size cards now. Children and I adore it. I learnt this at EGX Res, I think in March or April time. Been meaning to for ages. It's one of those games that people say, it's really good, and of course it is, but I just didn't get around to it. I didn't really have the opportunity to have it taught to me, and I think I played it or had it taught to me, and I bought it a couple of weeks later and it's a regular safe play at least every fortnight, and looking to get some expansions throughout 2018, and highly recommend it. If you've never played it, I mean, actually those three around here, King Togo and Antigua, are all fantastic entry-level games for anybody. I mean, like I say, this is all stuff played with the family. The year before last, I think we played mostly Splendor and Pandemic, which weirdly are more complicated than these. But then they've not really featured this year, so I think there is an element of better quality, more refined purpose. Slightly less refined purpose, Bears vs. Babies, which is the game following up Exploding Kittens in conjunction with the Oatmeal. Great. I really love Bears vs. Babies. You make an army of bears to kill or eat maniacal babies. And it's one of the few, well, not the first time that my kitchen tables felt small, but if you've got a massive gaming table, you can have a huge army of ridiculous bear monsters. And highly recommend it. The only thing I don't like about the game is it came in a furry box. Now, yeah, okay, we're all had a good snigger at the term furry box. Coming in a furry box. Yeah, I know, like sex. And I'm not a fan of gimmicky boxes. I have no problem with a magnetic clasp, if they want to put one of those on. But they did it with Exploding Kittens as well. They did one that, I think it did celebratory music, one that meowed when you opened it, and now this Bears vs. Babies got a furry one. It's all right, but I don't want it. It doesn't stack on the shelf nice. It's going to collect dust really easily. And then I'm worried that I'm not only going to just get some pet hair allergy from this artificial fur, but also dust allergy. I'm going to end up sneezing all the time. It'll be called Bears vs. Sneezies or something. But I did back on Kickstarter and got some extras, including a condom, because you got to stop the babies. And I'm obviously a bear, but not in the sense of sexual slang, just in the sense that I'm big, hairy, and often seen eating out of a river by Canadians. But yeah, Kickstarter's brilliant, isn't it? If I had £1 for every project I'd backed on Kickstarter in the last year, I'd have probably used that money to back another project on Kickstarter. Just in terms of total, I actually went through my Kickstarter profile. In the last year, or ish year, I have Kickstarter Joking Hazard, which is Cards Against Humanity meets Cyanide and Happiness, where you make a comic strip. Bears vs. Babies, Package, a little abstract game, tiny little one, lovely. Pitch Deck, which is just superb, and hopefully will become a huge game this year. Tortuga 1667, it comes in a delightful little bookcase. Not a bookcase, but a book, a case, a board game box, a book box. It comes in a box that looks like a book. A faux book case, but not a bookcase. They did another game as well, which on based in Salem, Massachusetts, which I now want just to have the box. And here's the thing, I'm not averse to a gimmick. It's a good gimmick. It works well for this one, and it's not going to give me allergies. Yukon Salon, fantastic beards and haircuts. Monikers, the shut up and sit down pack, but I also got the rest of Monikers as well. Fantastic for parties, and a lot less cynical than many things. Strawberry Ninja, again, little small one. Kids love that one. Also Dinosaur Island, which should be arriving this week, hopefully. Pansaurus Games, doing basically Jurassic Park without the license. And I got the deluxe edition, so I'm going to get some nice, sweet extras. Bullets and Teeth, which also should be arriving this week. And I'm a zombie in that game on one of the cards. So if you get a copy of that, I'll quite happily sign that for you and devalue it. Dome Crushers Giant Edition instead of the small one, which is a monster fighting game. Cucumber Sandwich, which I don't even know why I backed it. I think I just lost my mind and decided it was hilarious that somebody had done a game with a load of penises. So I just packed that. Flashpoint Tragic Events expansion, but then I got all of the expansions I don't have, so I've now got the full set. And then Sad Piggies, which didn't get funded the first round, but got funded the second round, has now hit some developmental issues, but that's kind of the fun of Kickstarter, is sometimes watching a project not just walk straight through, because I always think if you have a project where you back it and then a month later it arrives, you think, well, you didn't really need Kickstarter. All you've done there is use Kickstarter as a sales platform. And Resident Evil 2 as well, which is very exciting, and I spent a bit too much money on. So, yeah, Kickstarter is pretty great, and like I say, Bears vs. Babies was fantastic. And finally, a blend of tabletop and video game, which puts two of my favourite things together, and not just a video game, but a video game for the company that brought Rock Band to fruition, Harmonix. Drop Mix from Harmonix is a card-based system where you have 5 slots, I think it's 5, maybe 6 slots on a plastic base that you stand your phone on, use a mobile app that allows you to basically create music mixes. There's a freestyle mode where you just add elements, so you'll have some cards that represent either the vocals from Chandelier or the drum sequence from Tricky by Run DMC. You put them down and it'll adjust the tempo or adjust the key to make sure it sounds right, and then you create all these mixes, and it is hysterically good. It's basically almost like a mix of Uno, Guitar Hero, and Snap, I guess. It's very difficult to explain. If you haven't heard of it, do look it up. It is fabulous. It is ridiculously overpriced in the UK compared to the Americas, but I had to have it because my household, we love Rock Band and we love Tabletop, and to have a mix of the two was fantastic. Add-on packs are about £15 for 16 cards. And it works really well. You put stack cards and it recognises the new one you've added each time, which sometimes with near-field communication doesn't work very well. It's just superb, absolutely superb, and stressful and hilarious, and properly results in finger injuries where you're trying to slam a card down at the same time because communication is not very good. So this year, my top 5 most played games were probably King of Tokyo, Rhino Hero, Ticket to Ride, Bears vs. Babies, and Drop Mix. Do keep playing, do keep listening. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm Bouncybhall with an H after the second B, and it has been a pleasure sharing my gaming year with you.
We've got a lot of interviews.
Yeah, I know. We're a network, man. We're getting out there. Talking about that, we've got some very exciting news coming up. So what I'm going to do now is play you an alternative intro that Mr. Dalex Sex made for us. And what I want is votes on Twitter to which intro we should be using. And then after that, hopefully, we're going to have Lefty No Hands Lee in the studio, and he's going to talk about something very exciting that the DDB network are focusing on.
Hold on.
Yeah, and doing well for themselves. Who would have thought 2 drunk blokes in a studio?
In a studio garage.
In a Ger studio.
In a Ger studio den.
In a Ger studio den would have come this far with lots of plucky courage and gin and beer. Right, so enjoy this song and we shall speak to you soon.
Hey, oh, drunk blokes. Hey, oh, drunk blokes. Hey, oh, drunk blokes. Hey, oh, drunk blokes. They can't walk in a straight line. Their money's in a tight bind. They're driving round the coastline. Damn drunk blokes. They're drinking in the back seat. They're generating bullshit. They're puking on the carpet. Damn drunk blokes. Hey, oh, let's go. Climbing to the back now. Where they're going, we don't know. They're all boozed up and ready to go. They can't walk in a straight line. The glove box full of cheap wine. They're hammered out of their minds. Damn drunk blokes. They're drinking in the back seat. They're generating bullshit. They're puking on the carpet. Damn drunk blokes. Hey, oh, let's go. Climbing to the back now. Where they're going, we don't know. They're all boozed up and ready to go. They can't walk in a straight line. The glove looks full of cheap wine. They're hammered out of their minds. Damn drunk blokes. They're drinking in the back seat. They're generating bullshit. They're puking on the carpet. Damn drunk blokes. Hey, oh, drunk blokes. Hey, oh, drunk blokes. Hey, oh, drunk blokes. blokes. Hey, oh, drunk blokes.
So we're back. I hope you enjoyed that little intro, that other intro there. As I said, get onto Twitter and tell us which one you think's best, and we'll use that one more often.
Yeah.
Or we'll just use them both.
We're just using both.
Yeah.
One as an intro, one as an outro. Just keep mixing the shit.
Yeah, mixing it up.
Just mixing that shit up.
Talking about mixing it up, someone else has joined us. Say hello.
We
Hello.
found a traveller. Traveller. He's come from far.
He did rock up in a flat cat.
I did, yeah. And there
Through a
you go.
driveway.
I didn't mean that sort of traveller. But Jesus. Oh God, it's gone that way already. Yeah, we found Lefty No Hand.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Hello, boys. Hello, you. How you doing? You all right? Yeah.
Welcome all the way from Ketchup for the Soul.
All the way.
Oh, mate, from a far, far land known as Ketchup with a Soul. Flavor
Okay, so we was going to jump into some really exciting news, but then just off mic we thought, oh yeah, we forgot. The Infinity War trailer dropped, people.
It did drop.
And what do you think of it then?
A couple of trailers. So they released the initial one, which got me all excited and sexually in the pants. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And then they've released this new one where they've actually got that argument with Star-Lord and Tony Stark in it.
Yeah.
Which is something that as from the GGL podcast that we've been talking about, because we can't wait to see Tony Stark, Doctor Strange, and Star-Lord in the same room having it out of each other, because that'd just be funny.
Yeah.
Just, but yeah, we've seen them and we can't wait. In terms of the fact that we've already booked our midnight showing
Oh, boom.
and the day off
What to see
and,
it again.
and the 4DX.
Oh.
So we're seeing it at midnight in the super screen at the O2, then travelling to Basildon during the day to go and see it on 4DX.
Awesome. I reckon it's going to be wicked in 4DX.
So
It's always nice to be invited to these things.
I know, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I know, man.
I know.
Like, this
I
is
mean,
the first we were in about people
yeah.
and all.
It's all right. I'll be in my
So-
Ketchup land. And
Yeah,
we'll,
shit in bed. I don't know. Well, you can still come if you want.
Yeah, well, I would like to. but,
Midnight showing
Yeah,
on a Wednesday.
yeah.
On a Wednesday.
I don't fucking sleep as it is. It's not going to make much difference to me, is it?
Well, fair enough.
I'll probably just finish work, rock up there, and then go straight back to work. Wouldn't be the first time.
It's a possibility. No, yeah. So we got overexcited and just went, we're fucking.
No, I'm definitely
So-
going to just as soon
Yeah,
as them
so-
Well,
tickets
what
are
we
released.
didn't realise was Cineworld is actually releasing it the day early. So Cineworld is showing it at midnight on the Wednesday, the 25th. It actually officially isn't supposed to come out until the 27th
Holy crap.
on the 5 past midnight.
Oh,
Cineworld is showing it at 5 past midnight on Wednesday.
Are
Wow.
you sure?
Well, Thursday morning.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
sure that's correct? Because
Yes.
they might have like mistyped that.
They
themselves.
can't now. We've already bought the tickets.
No, you're going
We're
to sit there
showing up.
demanding.
I'm going to show up and I'm going to demand.
Give
like,
me
we
film.
Otherwise, it's
Give
false
me
advertising, and I will sue their faces.
compensation.
I will do it.
You want a Thanos glove?
Yeah.
I want the Infinity War.
Go fuck yourselves in your false advertising.
What was mate? I did go and see Thor Ragnarok at the fucking end of it all.
Well, you actually did.
Yeah.
You've seen Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I saw it last night for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yes.
could not
Fucking
believe
Korg.
why.
He's my hero.
This is Meek. He's got scissors for hands.
It's okay. I made the rocks, which isn't that scary unless you've made the scissors.
little rock joke there.
I think the best thing about
Piss off, Ghost.
Piss off, Ghost.
Oh no, he's gone.
No, the one with the fork. Hey, Thor, do you want to use a big fork?
Yeah, but that's a note to
It's
what.
not really practical unless you're fighting 3 vampires. that
Yeah,
are
but
really
that's a
close
note
together.
to and what we do in the shadows with the
Yeah,
director. You know
yeah.
what we do in the shadows. So that's the three
Because
vampires.
it was actually the director that voiced Korg.
Yes,
that's the guy
that's right.
that
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking about that did what we do in the
Do
shadows.
in the shadows, he
Which is
directed that, which is
hilarious.
about
Have you
3
seen that?
vampires.
Ah,
Well,
fair
4
enough.
vampires,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he's
yeah.
the character who says 3.
No, yeah,
so
so-
there's a nice little nod to it in there.
Yeah, no, Korg was one of the outstanding ones. I mean, like, just every moment he was in was funny. Like, even the bit where it's, hey, we're just about to get on this big ship.
Yeah.
And,
Hey, I'm Korg. This is Mick. We're going to get on that big ship. Want to come? You look like you need some leadership. Why, thank you.
yeah, so Thor Ragnarok was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
You'll definitely be
I love
hearing something about that from myself, and Smurfrider and that. But I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
The
was a
other bit of
fantastic
news
film.
about going to see films, I was promised for Valentine's Day the first showing of Deadpool 2.
Oh.
So yeah, we were going to do. My plan was to do like a crossover.
We are doing a crossover.
Yeah, but I mean, get the GGL crew here Like, rather than just do an episode with some of you, get the whole lot in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was always going to do that.
Oh, right. I didn't...
Right, so
Because it
basic-
wasn't that clear when Danny said, like,
I'll
do you
talk-
want to do a crossover episode? I was like, is that just Danny, or is that anyone else?
yeah.
Well, basically, I'll speak to you about it off of the mic. But what we had planned was, so date night is obviously our up to date. It's the new movies that are coming out. So
Which is
any big and new movies.
I've got to say, that's fantastic date night, that last episode. Mate.
Did you like that?
Pieces. Yeah, it was so good. So good.
So it will be a date night episode with a twist, obviously, which I'll explain to you afterwards on how we're going to do it. So it will be funny, but we know that obviously with the new films that are coming out, as was explained, me and Scott do go to the cinema a lot. Yeah. And we see all sorts of films, and Scott himself is into also some of Smurf the Smurf Rider is into his art house films as well, so he'll go and see
I keep calling them art house films. They're not. They're
well,
just
they're the Oscar films. You know what I mean? They're the films that
art house films are completely different.
He's seen things like Shape of Water and fucking I, Tonya and shit like that.
Shape of Water.
I don't like any of those sort of films. I think they're boring. But
I think Gilberto del Toro is the son too.
Guillermo del Toro is just amazing.
Yeah, but it's
a shit film.
I've heard that. I've heard
it's actually not that good.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Anyway, yeah. So
didn't it just win an Oscar?
He did, but it's just bullshit.
Yeah, but I think
me and Comics Guy talk about this all the time. If you want to win an Oscar, there is an actual way to make a film to get at least nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah,
it's very, very simple, and that's how they do it. And they all vote for themselves. It's all internal.
Yeah, it's all
blah,
internal.
blah, blah, and it's
yeah, what's
so basically, yeah. But we are going to be doing obviously your outside films, so we want people involved in Infinity Wars and stuff like that. But obviously, because me and Scott go and see your other films, the other one outside of that.
The other thing I was thinking about is maybe not with all the crew, but some from every podcast come and do a live stream event, whether it be about a film or a game or just some big thing that we've all seen at the same time or done at the same time, or even like one of these outings that we go and do.
Yeah.
When we're all there, we
Yeah.
come back and do a live Q&A session through either Twitch or something like that. Where people can actually talk to us while we're filming, while we're recording.
Yeah.
We
While
can
we're
answer
still
them as
live
we
about
go.
it, while we're
Yeah,
still
exactly.
quite buzzing about it. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, like literally, you will get us after the event, so we'll be steaming piss. We'll be sitting here drunk.
That could be done recently. Recently, this could be done in the near future.
Well, yeah.
Depending on a certain event that may be happening.
Talking about events, ruining my segue.
Trying to have a nice cut in there.
Chimpanzee riding on Segway. Sorry, that's me, the chimpanzee, by the way.
Oh, you fucking put yourself well high on the evolutionary.
Wow.
You look right at levels right there.
Here we go
I
again.
was thinking like sort of.
My ears are clearer now, by the way, people.
Yeah, they can tell by the fucking loudness of your voice.
No, it's bullshit. He made me sniff Vicks.
That makes it sound.
In fact, I'm actually going to leave it like that and not go into further detail because it's funnier. I basically have just sniffed Vicks and my ears exploded. So now I can hear it properly.
I made him feel better, and now he's got the other about it because he can't go. Oh, woe is me! I'm so ill.
I'm
I'm going to have to go home and pretend that I'm ill now to get affection from my missus. Oh, mate.
So, segue ruined. We've got some exciting news, which our man over here, Lefty No Hands, has been working extremely hard on, and he's about to explain exactly what's going on.
Yeah, so I can give an exclusive to everybody now here, is that I've done a little bit of back and forth talking to some people in regards to covering a festival. The festival's called Portals Festival of Experimental Rock. I've been speaking to them and they've agreed for us to be exclusively there to cover the whole event. The event's on for 2 days.
Hang on, before we go into that, let's just clarify what that is. That's exclusive podcast network of the festival.
That is, yes.
Right, so the media coverage of this festival
is going to be solely covered by them Drunk Blokes Network.
Exactly. So if you want information on the Portals Experimental Rock Festival, the only place you can come is here and maybe my friends at the Times.
Yes.
And we still don't know how this happened.
But
Well, we've been in the Times already, so I'm guessing we got friends there. So us, and we'll trickle down effect to the Times.
So yeah, basically we've got exclusive coverage of it, and we're gonna be. My idea is obviously I've been talking to them, and the ideas of what they want from us and what we can give them, and we are going to cover it. Obviously, discussions will be made later on Facebook. I'm going to be streaming it live. There's going to be podcast interviews and whatnot. We're going to be covering the whole thing in depth.
Yep, it'll be on the YouTube channel. It'll be on Twitter, Facebook. We can probably sort out while we're there maybe a Twitch stream as well.
That'd be awesome.
We need to look into obviously the mechanics of that.
Yeah.
But we are literally throwing everything, all of the network's capabilities thrown at Portals, and in return we get to go to Portals and tell you how fucking brilliant it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
It should be a good. It sounds like it's going to be a good weekend.
Well,
anyway.
there's 27 bands playing over the 2 days, and some of the names that are going there are quite big in regards to the scene. I saw quite a few of them last year when I went to an Arctangent festival, which is actually side promotion with the people that are doing Portals.
Right.
So it's kind of all linking around.
It is snowing in here.
It's not snowing in there.
It's dust, man. What's that?
Right.
Snowy, go on.
Excuse the healthy one now, hallucinating through health.
So, yeah, that is on June the 16th and 17th, which is a Saturday and a Sunday.
On what whereabouts is it?
That is at the Dome and Boston Music Room in Tufnell Park, London.
All right.
And it's a two-sided venue, so they've got a smaller venue which holds about 300-400 people, and then they've got basically a great big grand stage opening. This thing's massive. It really is huge. Holds a couple of thousand people.
So it's an actual proper event.
It's a full-on event. Yeah, live bands have played there before. I think the Who's played there back in the day and stuff like that. It's like well known.
Got some history.
Got some history. Definitely got some history.
Good,
So
good.
it's quite happy and pleased that we can now officially announce that we will be covering with Portals themselves, and we're going to be going full on DDB network and chucking ourselves into it and covering everything top to bottom in regards to it.
How much is a ticket for the event?
Right, tickets for the event, the first wave and second wave are already sold out, so they've been selling tickets in stages, but they're still selling tickets now, and the tickets are £30 in advance. Not too sure how much more it will be at a later date, but if I was you, I'd start getting the tickets now, and you can get them tickets on portalsrock.com. And just have a look on there, and you'll be able to find a little bit more details about the bands. And they've even got a Spotify list as well. So if you're not too familiar, or if you are familiar with them, just click on it, and it gives you a couple of tunes of each band that are playing.
So if you are listening to us on Spotify, obviously finish this episode, type in the search Portals Rock,
Portals,
and up will come their playlist that you can listen to.
So you can get a little bit of a sample of the sort of bands that we'll be playing, or the actual bands that we'll be playing at this event, yes?
Okay.
All the bands that we play, and I'm in contact with quite a few of the bands now. I've already started, I've had to, in regards to giving the podcast that we'll have with the bands themselves, either before or after they go on. So it'll be.
So we'll have interviews with the different bands as well.
Oh yes,
That'd be brilliant.
I'm going to try and get as many bands as possible. Realistically, we don't want to overdo it because we'll try.
We'll spread it out across the
We'll
network.
spread it out, and
All
I mean,
different
obviously,
shows.
I want a few of us in one room, a few of us in the other room. But max coverage, and that is what's going to happen on June the 16th and 17th.
So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if that's up to you, go and get your tickets now. I will sort of say at the minute I will go and buy a ticket for one lucky listener who tweets us in, and we'll put your name in a hat. So tweet us in that you want to go. We'll put your name in a hat. We'll pull out the hat.
I'll do the same. I'll put that on Twitter on my side, and that's a wicked idea.
Yeah, so I'll buy the ticket, or we'll club together and buy a ticket for one of you lucky listeners that want to come along. And obviously you can come and then in return buy us a beer while you're there.
And have an interview as the lucky
winner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
lucky
Tell us
listener.
who you're excited about seeing, and who knows? We'll see what we can do.
Exactly.
That'd be awesome.
Get drunk with them drunk blokes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. In news of other events, I've already said we're definitely still going to Ambush. We're going to practice the DDB Mobile thing a little bit more. We're still planning on the MCM Comic Con. Other stuff. If you want us to go to any of your local cons, any of your local events that you're going to, obviously tweet us in, send us a message, send us an email, demdrunkblokes@gmail.com, and we'll
keep shouting out to us, and
we'll come and terrorise you.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
The terrorisation of your
hometown
festivals and cons is completely possible.
Yeah, and it will never be the same again.
We haven't been banned from any public events yet.
This year.
Yeah, and do you know what? There was fears, but it's actually gone quite smooth at the moment. So,
well, listen, we got banned from one person being a thing. We don't terrorise people that much. We're lovely people. Just look at people, ask people about us. We are nice guys. And you know that because you're talking to us or listening to us or whatever.
Yeah.
And why would you do that to people that weren't nice, lovely and cuddly and drunk?
Yeah. More drunk than cuddly, to be fair, but, you know.
I don't know.
Pretty cuddly.
Yeah, I don't like being touched.
I'm
so
looking
don't
at
cuddle
you
me.
wanting that cuddle, but I just don't want to get you.
You also think it's snowing indoors. So.
It's definitely snowing in here. It's the snow. It's devastating apparently as well. See, he's seeing it. It's not just me and the Vicks.
I think I need a little sniff of that at the moment, just to get me on your level.
I think I need something else to put up this shit. Right.
Oh shit.
So I think that is all. Obviously, you've had no adverts this time round, due to the fact that we've all spoke about it as we're here.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check out DDB presents Catch Up for the Soul. DDB prevents the good, the great, and the Logan X. You're already checking out us, so don't worry about that.
This is DDB talk shit, isn't it?
Well, it is at the minute.
Are we talking shit?
We're not playing D&D, so we must be talking shit.
But you have also got a DDB play D&D.
Yeah.
Do D&D.
Well, that's all done on this channel at the minute.
Oh, fair enough.
So
just keep listening to this channel.
keep listening to this channel. Eventually, it will split off into two when we've got enough material and people can actually come round and do a show a week again. But as we said, life come up in your face and life turned into a snake. I picked up the snake to admire the snake. It turned back into itself and went and stabbed me.
Yeah. Fucking shit life.
Yeah, and also on my side, I will apologise for no podcast recently. I've actually lost the splitter for my microphone that leads onto the thing, so I'm doing it a different way. I have got one recorded and I'm publishing it in the next day or two, and that's called 0800 Russia. Listen to it, you'll find out why.
0800 Russia. Fantastic.
Right. Okay, so yeah, go check out all this. I have been me, Shogun Pumbaa. You can find me at Shogun Pumbaa on the Twitters, at the Facebooks, on the PlayStation Network if you want to come on Monster Hunt with us.
Yes.
Remember, Monster Hunter World Squad, them drunk blokes, come join us, hunt some monsters, great fun.
Yeah. I've been Renegade Logan X. You can find me at Renegade Logan X on Twitter. I am also on PlayStation as well. I think just as Matt Logan though.
Logan _ blah 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 blah.
1607.
Find me and I'll add you to him.
Find Pumbaa. Yeah, so you can come also and hunt monsters with me and Pumbaa. Find me on Twitter at Renegade Logan X, as I said. Also the at Good the Great and the Logan X.
Yeah.
For that podcast there.
Yeah, and you can also find me, Lefty No Hand, on DDB Presents Catch Up for the Soul. I haven't got a PlayStation, so sorry about that, boys. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Lefty421977, and yeah, that's me.
It. Just so you haven't got, so it's not too complicated.
Yeah, do you want to repeat that number again? So they might want to
It's
grab a
awful.
pen.
For some weird reason, you can put the Good, the Great, and Logan X on your Twitter, but I can't put Catch Up for the Soul. It won't let me do it all in one go, so I've got to keep it at
You just put KF to
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was that. The voice guy is in Thailand causing havoc at the minute.
Yeah, nearly dying.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Jesus.
we'll let him tell all the stories of his adventures when he's back in a couple of months. If he comes back.
Although it has led to one thing, can I just add? The Good Great Logan X have now got a download in Thailand.
Have you? Because we've only got one download in Thailand. I'm really pissed off.
So we're worldwide, baby. Oh, mate.
Give us iTunes reviews, all that stuff. Let us know you're listening. Let us know you love us. We love you. Shout out to Cat Tulips, mister.
As always.
Yeah, because he's like our new number wave fan. Where the fuck you been, Lee McElwain?
Yeah.
Other than that, have a week. I don't know.
Have a week.
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 Just a 1 week.
Yeah, just take a week, guys.
Just take a week and then listen back to us, and there's some more D&D shit.
Yeah, man.
And maybe some chatty shit along the way. Anyway, ta-da.
See you later.
Bye.
And now, the promised interview. Welcome, DM Dango.
So, I'm here with DM Dango, or...
Brad, if you prefer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've literally just sourced him from the internet, sourced him from the void itself. We've plucked him out because he sounded interesting, and we want a few words from the man himself. So, Dango, or Brad.
Yes.
Explain a bit about yourself. What do you do?
So, I do reviews for the DMs Guild. So I went a while back there. I was just getting started on Twitter. I was around the holidays kind of thing. I was just trying to experiment to see what it was like to just be on Twitter and just try it out. And I went and I followed all the D&D, the normal D&D people you follow, like Chris Perkins and Mike Merles and all that. And then I started to see a lot of things from feeds in that general kind of area around people saying that there was some really great content on the DMs Guild, but unless you had a large following already on Twitter or another social media platform, like if you were Mike Merles and you put out something on the DMs Guild, everyone would snap it up, and there would be hundreds of views and hundreds of comments, and you'd be fine. If you were somebody like No Name Joe Blogs, and you put something out there, even if it was great and wonderful and amazing, no one would ever view it. It would never get pushed up the rating cycles into the DMs Guild, and it would just wallow in the sea of everything else that was in there. So I thought, let's do something about that. Let's start reviewing stuff that I got from DMs Guild, and I got quite a large amount of followers and followings just from that initial tweet and saying, I'm going to do this thing. I don't care what anyone else says. I'm going to try and see how far I get. And I've been doing it for about 4 weeks now. And I've been inundated with every week. I always think, I'm not going to have enough content. I'm not going to have enough stuff to review because nobody's going to send me anything. I get at least 2 or 3 submissions of saying, do you want to review this? Do you want to have a look at this? Do you want to have... And I've never had to pay for anything. They've all been like, please, please, please review this because it will help us out and help me out and help everyone else. So...
Well, I mean, 1, that's amazing, and 2, obviously in that DM Guild, I mean, we've created some stuff here, sitting here as drunk people as we are. We create stuff all the time. We're creating a world as it is, and we're throwing things in. So we did, a Warforged, obviously, a Warforged. We did a Nature Forged. So it was a Druid's version that was very healer-based, not fighting-based, made of plant life.
Yeah.
And we created it always. We were supposed to create a few characters in one night and just got focused on this character and made him completely. We gave him, although he started at level 3, we actually gave him the opportunity to get all the way through to level 20. We did everything about it. And then it was we looked at going on the DMs Guild and what's the other one? D&D... 5e something or other, where you can put all your homebrew. I think it's called D&D 5e homebrew.
Yeah, the homebrew side.
And we looked at the homebrew one, and their stuff was awful and didn't really fit into, or not everything was awful, but some of the stuff we saw on there was there's no point of sticking it here. Tried to apply it to DM's Guild, and it was what's the point of that either? We just lost all traction. I mean, we played with him for a small campaign lasting about 4 or 5 meets. Our meets last about 6 to 8 hours. So 4 or 5 meets. He survived the whole thing. The guy that played him very well, like what we imagined. Obviously, he created him. But the idea behind it was, for us, would have been brilliant to throw it in as a sort of, Warforged is like iron or stone, and really like a tank. And then this Nature Forged is very similar, but made out of like tree roots and has entangle and doesn't really hit anybody because he doesn't know how to. So we tried that, and as I said, it got blown away in the wind. So it's just one for us at the moment. So obviously yourself getting what's the weirdest thing from the DMs Guild, or one of the lower things that you've reviewed that you think should be more up there?
So I've been doing a couple of different reviews. So I've done stuff on player stuff. I've done some stuff that... So when Critical Role Season 2 came out, or their new campaign, I did the one for the Blood Hunter and did some stuff around that. It's... Like, there's some weird issues around the class for that one. But the one I really like, because I've just done a review for, which will go out on Monday, there's a piece of content called the Brewer's Bible, which is all about creating your own little alcoholic drinks that have quasi-magical effects attached to them.
Oh, wow, that's amazing, because our very first published D&D game, we had the Order of Murphy, which was a special form of clerics that relied on brewing alcohol. So it was Murphy's Law, so it was what it was and it was what it wasn't. But and they all walked around with a home brewing kit, and every pub they went into, they got special price because they were followers of Murphy.
Okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah, and this was all like, and it was a really interesting thing to read about. And I've done one other one from the same author, Nick Martinagro, and it's all, he does a lot of like systems kind of style stuff. The other one he did was a town building system, and then this one was like all about brewing and kind of what you can do with it and quasi-magical effects, stuff like being able to breathe dragon's fire and things like that. It was really kind of interesting.
So trying to drink Sambuca and putting a lighter to your mouth kind of thing.
Yeah. But with more of it, because it's always struck me as kind of odd when you have like worlds like Faerun, you have all these like very high or very potent magic in the world. No one's tried to make magical liquor. Really? That seemed a little odd to me. We have potions and they do very incredible things, but then you don't have somebody trying to just go, humans are rather inventive. We do all kinds of things with electricity, with fire, with carbon dioxide, and yet nobody decided to try and make magical liquor.
Well,
oh well.
It's that thing. I mean, it's how you look at it. As a group of professional drunks, we look at potions as just really high spirits. So you drink it, and as I'm sure you've been drunk before, and I'm sure many people listening have been drunk before, you think you can do anything, and then anything then falls out of it. I think you're right. I think if you put into how people evolve and how societies grow, obviously all alcohols would have been infused with something just to either make it more sellable or more attractive or anything else. So I think I'm going to steal that idea and put it into our own world that we're making show by show.
Cool.
So that's one of them. I mean, what's the worst one you've come across?
So I haven't actually come across that many bad ones yet, because the DMs Guild is a bit better curated in terms of what's actually out there. And I think if you have the courage to kind of go to an author and go to a reviewer and go, I want you to have this content to review, I think there's kind of a little bit of you know that you're probably not giving away a stinker. Now there are some things where I've seen, like I reviewed an anthology of adventures, and it was like an entire anthology from 2016 to the very beginning of 2018-ish times. And it was very clear the very beginning ones were when he was first starting out, when the author was just kind of figuring out, trying to how to go about things and try to figure out things. And it was interesting to see how he'd gotten a lot better at writing adventures, even from that very first one, which I thought, well, this one's kind of a weakish one. He was trying to do a murder mystery in D&D, and there's some fundamental problems in murder mysteries and D&Ds when you throw magic into the mix, when you throw in charm spells, when you throw in zone of truth. It's like that doesn't work so well when you can break certain like fundamental abilities, because the whole point of a murder mystery is you need to have your villains be able to lie. If they can't because of charm or zone truth spells, it gets a little trickier. And I think he learned from that, and his subsequent ones are much better, and they're much more structured, and they take into account these kinds of magics, and they take into account things like being able to understand how a player thinks and how certain other players think. And it was very good to see that. And because it was a whole anthology, it was like, yeah, this first one's a bit of a stinker, but the rest of them, they more than make up for this one. And he was selling it for, I think he was selling for the whole anthology for $10, which works out to about £7-ish or so.
How many adventures was there?
I think it was, let's see, there was 9 in total, and 3 of them were little mini dungeons. So that's pretty good value considering they're the things that are on DM's Guild. I've seen other things like one adventure is $10. So, and when you consider the stuff from like, you know, Wizards themselves, where you're talking like Tomb of Annihilation, that kind of stuff, yeah, they're more full-featured in terms of the length that you get out of them, and in terms of the research as well. But in terms of, I think, the amount of playtime, you're looking at about equal in terms of all of the adventures included in this one anthology. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's well worth it. Do you remember the name of that, by the way?
It was the Adventure Anthology by, PB Publishing.
I'm sure it's on your YouTube channel anyway, so people...
It is, yes it is.
And your YouTube channel was, sorry?
It's DM Dango.
DM Dango. As we introduced you. So you are a DM for your... Well, when you play, you are DM, I take it?
Yep. I am a DM for one game, and I play in 3 other ones.
Unfortunately, with my friends, none of them are qualified to be a DM that I would disagree with. So I DM everything we do. Okay. But I also allow a lot of character input, so a lot of player input. If they think that that's a good place, a good village, a good starting town, then I'll add it to the world. I'll put that in. So, yeah, I mean, as a DM yourself, do you, like, personally, myself, I got Tomb of Annihilation and I read through it, and then when playing it, I had ideas, so I sprout off of it. I make a lot of stuff up as I go. And I think, personally, that's a good thing for a DM, but I also know DMs that are very to the book. But what's your view?
So my view is I think you need a little bit of both. You need to kind of have that structure so that people can know what to expect. So adhering to the rules as written in the PHB is good for the most part, because it gives people an expectation of what's going to happen and what's going to kind of, and if I do try and do this thing, it will work. It will work the way it says it in the book. But then there's the kind of times when you're like, well, the rule of cool kind of comes into play when somebody goes, I want to do this really cool thing, and you go, that's not in the book, and that's not technically how raw, but it sounds cool enough for me to kind of go, yeah, do it. Go ahead and ride that dinosaur right into the town. That sounds cool. You go do that.
Yeah, well, the idea is it's the best computer game ever made because it's relying on a reaction from the greatest computer ever made, the human brain. So these random things that people want to do, even if it throws your story off slightly, a good DM will always be able to put that story back on track eventually.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, is have a backup plan. If people want to go off track, yeah, they can meet someone else, but it will still get them back on the track that you wanted to do in the first place. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do, and I think that sometimes you need to go off track. You kind of need to let your players do what they want. Player agency is kind of the key thing, because I currently run one, like I said before, so it's Tomb of Annihilation. It is Tomb of Annihilation right now, but I used to run a homebrew one, and I was trying to run it with 7 players, and that is a very large number. It was very ambitious, and I ran into the problem when I was starting to get to trying to manage that many players, that kind of way of doing things, and trying to be like, here's an open world, you do what you like, and And then I got to the point where I was like, well, I really want you to go do this thing. And I kind of robbed my players of player agency a little bit. And they kind of give me a little bit of backlash. And I was like, well, something isn't working here. And I went, okay, I'm going to stop the campaign now because I think something's wrong and something's broken. So I redid the campaign. Went, okay, I'm going to cut the numbers down to 4. Kind of made some harsh decisions there. And went, okay, so I'm going to cut it 4 and we're going to run 2 Annihilation. And we had a session 0 and we did it. And we did it very differently. We said, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to try and accomplish. And it's been a better experience so far because everyone's on the same page. We've had our like session 0 kind of to rebalance everything.
Okay. So, I mean, I take it you kicked people out of your group?
Yeah, essentially there was one person who would show up only occasionally, and I kind of accommodated them and they had a really weird character that would turn into a statue every couple of days,
so
in-game days.
You're playing random stuff just for them. I mean,
yeah,
we got over it slightly by getting a home base. So obviously first session 0, everyone's there.
Yeah,
everyone's together. I think I had just add it up. I had 6 players and me, and they all got on with that adventure. That was fine. It ended up, it might have been a dream. So they all started off back where they started that adventure from.
Yeah.
And not sure if they'd met the other players, other characters.
Oh, okay.
And then next adventure, only 4 of them could show up, which is fine because they're not sure that last adventure actually happened. So they run into each other and they're on their way to their new, basically, home base. And then I do with the remaining people that didn't show up that time, I do an adventure with them, which lasts the same place, which is roughly in the same area, at the same time, so some NPCs can cross over, some areas can cross over, and then they're also heading to the home base. Then we get them all together for the next adventure, and they arrive at home base and they take over home base or give...
Technical issue. Redo. Nope. Carry on. Insert funny thing here, and we're back.
From that point onwards, then it doesn't matter who shows up or not because I can just say, oh, that one and that one is staying at the home base and you lot are going out.
Yeah.
And then if they can show up for the next one and one of them can't, then I can swap it over to them leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is a arseache to get everyone together in the same room so many times. Like a security-based job, so I do 100-hour weeks and stuff like that. So I'm the one that should be late, and then everybody else shows up late, and it drives me insane.
The eternal problem of who's going to show up on time, kind of the thing. I've found that the only way to guarantee people being in certain places to have like really rigid structures in terms of saying, well, this is when we're starting. If we're not there, you're going to be the one, because I institute you have to give the recap if you're the last one there. I have very few people showing up late at that point, but I've done other things as well, because there's a tool called Doodle. If you've heard of it, it's a scheduling thing to kind of give you, it's mostly used in office environments, but because I work at IBM, it kind of gives me that kind of, it's the same kind of scheduling tool, and I understand it, and I just use it to schedule all my D&D games, because it's really handy to say, okay, everyone can show up at 9 o'clock on a Wednesday. Good. That's when we're having the next D&D session kind of thing, because I have a very flexible schedule, just because of where I work.
Well, lucky you.
Yeah.
But the one I rely on is the fact that even if I did threaten the idiots that I play with, they have to recap the last session, they'd get here late and still go,
yeah,
and you still...
I forgot.
Yeah. And it's like, I told you to write notes. And I've got notebooks here from my players. 2 pieces of paper as a notebook. And it's like, yes, they've got the town name, they've got 2 NPC names, and it's gone. Then there's nothing apart from doodles.
Yeah, that tends to be the way. There's usually one or 2 note takers in any given D&D group, from what I can tell, because each game I play in has no one in it who is in one of the other ones. So I play in 3 and DM 1, but it means that I get a good understanding of kind of how different D&D groups behave. And from my experience, there is usually one note taker, and that's about it.
I think all that falls onto me with this group. But so talking about obviously D&D, what other role playing games have you dabbled?
So I've played Pathfinder. I've played a little bit of
That is D&D. Sorry.
well, yeah, but yeah, well, 3. Well, I played from 3.5, then all the way up to 5th edition. Then I skipped 4th. I played. What is the name of that? I've played a little bit of a game called Made RPG. That's a weird one. No. Anyone listening to this, probably best to do that in incognito mode. You get some strange results back occasionally. Yeah. I've played a bit of Dark Heresy. I've played... there was one other one we were looking at playing, but we never got to. Oh, I've played some Edge of Empire as well. Those are the main ones I've played. That was Star Wars RPG. The Edge of Empire one, yeah. And come to think of it, I played the old D20 Star Wars RPG as well.
Not
the new one. In terms of,
it's not new anymore, is it?
no, it's not. But yeah, those are the main ones I dabbled with most.
The White Wolf, World of Darkness.
I always wanted to. I wanted to get involved in kind of the Vampire Masquerade and the White Wolf stuff. I played the video games when they came out on, was it N64? I think they were around for that era.
The original Vampire Masquerade game was PC only because it was like for its day.
Yeah, but then there was the hack and slash White Wolf,
Hunter, and then the Werewolf. What was the one that came out on PS2? Something about the Hunters. Basically, it was the shit RPG from the tabletop. They turned into a game for some reason. Yeah. They had the license basically, and went, "Ooh, we can make a cool little hack and slash." And I remember those two games, and the Vampire Masquerade one was quite good. I thought. I like the story because in Vampire Masquerade, if you never played it as a tabletop game, it was very modern day setting. Whereas the computer game, although it fit in well with all the clans and everything else, it actually started in the Middle Ages. Well, in the Crusades, it started, and then all of a sudden you wake up in modern day New York, which is brilliant.
Yeah. It was a brilliant little game, and I wanted to play the pen and paper version, and I never got a chance to kind of get a group together, kind of thing, because my friends, because back in when that game came out, that would have been high school for me, so that would have been, most of my friends were mostly 3.5 edition and nothing else. So
well, the other thing about that one is it's very heavily role playing. So a lot of people get turned off by that, especially because it's a modern day setting as well. I mean, my first introduction to role playing was a Call of Cthulhu game. And I hated it. I was a player in that, and it was like one player tried to poison me. He was supposed to be the doctor. I'm supposed to be the ex-gangster with a shotgun, so I run into a haunted house and get killed by a bed. And I was just like, this is terrible.
Cthulhu's an interesting one. And I've done... The other one I forgot, actually, because I've only run it once, is Dread. So I've played Dread once. That's a very... I like this system. And I'm also an indie game developer as well.
Okay.
And
what are you working on?
Yeah. And currently we are working on an Escape the Room VR game.
Oh, wow.
We're trying to get that out for festival, so we'll be up there at some point.
Where's that? Sorry, cut out for a minute there.
So we're going to be up in the Norwich Game Festival for when is that? June? Yeah, June. So we'll be over there exhibiting Out of Office for that. But for Dread, I was trying to work out a way of kind of incorporating the tension-building elements of Dread into like an actual PC video game that I could actually do and use, because it's very hard to kind of get that kind of... Part of Dread is that you see the tower and you know it's unstable, and yet you still have to make those pulls occasionally, and it's great feeling when you're playing that game. It's very interesting. I've not seen another RPG be able to do that kind of horror elements in a game that well. D&D's suited for it. The system is clunky for that kind of stuff. Yeah. But
I mean, it's the same as Call of Cthulhu is supposed to be based on like horror writings and old mythos and stuff like this. But it just, for me, unless you've got good role players around you, it falls apart quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think I've ever played a horror-based campaign or adventure that works ever in any system that I've played. No, I haven't played that many, but I don't think I have. I can't think of one that actually would make me worry about my character.
Yeah, I would give Dread a try. Dread gives you that kind of very good... it's all based around a Jenga tower, basically. And you have a Jenga tower, and every time you need to resolve an action, you pull something from the tower. And at first, it's okay. At first, you kind of have this, yeah, I can do this, yeah, I can do this. By the 14th or 15th pull and the Jenga tower is looking a little wobbly, it starts to get a little scary, because if the tower falls over, your character dies. There's no saving throws, there's no nothing, it's just dead instantly.
Okay. So just like inherent insaneness, like in a Cthulhu game where you just get insane and you have to act insane for a while.
Yeah. The game is meant to be run as a one shot, but I have heard of people playing campaigns with it where the tower falling over isn't necessarily death, but it can be other more detrimental effects kind of thing. So things like madness and but a much more permanent kind of thing. But it works really well as a one shot in an RPG setting. Yeah, so that's Dread, which is interesting. I'm trying to think of any other RPGs I've done. Not really on those ones. And like I said, I was looking into White Wolf and Vampire Masquerade. Never got a group together for it. But I've seen it play.
Our White Wolf game eventually crossed the White Wolf universe itself. So we had we started off with Vampire. We had 2 players, DM, GM, and then we got the Major Session book. So a couple of mages joined the Vampire group, trying to do certain things, and so on and so on. But it was that one I really loved because of the amount of role. People were just acting. They become the character and that's it. The roles were null and void. You get in one fight a whole adventure.
Yeah.
And the thing I'm suffering with now is these people, some of the crew are quite new to role playing, and also they're so focused on what things do in the world. It's okay, they're there. The rules again. It's what I wanted to ask you. What do you think of the old? I know it correlated to the old D&D, but the rules are there just as guidelines. What do you think of that, or are you very?
So I think the rules are there mostly as guidelines, but they give players an expectation of what they can expect to happen. I think a lot of players like them as a safety net. They see it as a kind of these are the things that I can do. This is the thing that the rules would say. It's when a player gets to a point, and it's usually around, for me, I've seen it around 4th or 5th session, when they realize that they can do anything, that they go, I can try and do this thing. I can go. Can I make a bomb? It's yes, you can make a bomb. How would you do that? I do this, and it's okay, that works. You make a bomb, and this light goes on in their head where they realize I can do anything I want as long as I can justify it, or at least make it sound plausible. Because even as DMs, you kind of go, this sounds mostly plausible. Mostly, and as long as my players don't look too closely, no one will notice.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think the rules is a good safety net. Are really useful. I think some players, once they get to a certain point, they will grow beyond it because they will understand. Some, and not all players do, to be fair. And everyone plays a little differently. So some players might never grow beyond that safety net, but then sometimes they find interesting ways of interpreting those rules. There's some really interesting interpretations of Tensor's floating disk, for example, that I've seen. So
the Lehman's Tiny Hut.
Yeah, Lehman's Tiny. Yeah.
Like, as far as I can work out, as written as well, it's a hut. It provides sort of a stealth / slight protection element.
Yeah.
If you're running down a rapid river, you can't cast Lehman's Tiny Hut and pretend you're in a boat. It's not there for that.
No, but there are some really interesting... They will try. Yeah, there are some interesting things around Tensor's floating disk, around making perpetual motion machines and all kinds of insanity around that. You Google that one. There's lots of different varying ways you can do that. It's fairly...
We had Mage Hand as well. Obviously, Mage Hand, rules as written, is like it can pull or lift up to £10.
Yep.
Pull a lever, do this. And they're like, so I want the Mage Hand to undress the enemy. And it's like, no, but it can lift £10. Surely a shirt does not weigh more than £10.
Yeah. Well, yes.
But I see it as this massive 5 foot by 5 foot purple hand, not a tiny little hand that can undo buttons. But
that's true. Yeah. There's some interesting applications and things people have tried, and things with unseen servants and Big B's hand and all the kind of other things. It's
we have a unseen servant at the moment. I don't know do you watch Rick and Morty?
I do, yeah. I've watched it, yeah.
So we have an unseen servant at the moment, which is called in as Mr. Masiketh. I have to act out the unseen servant talking back to him as, I'm Mr. Masiketh, gaze upon me. And then he gives him some banal task, and then he disappears and dies.
Yeah.
I want that to come back and bite him in the arse, because he's a clever player, he's a good player, but I want him to leave a Masiketh out too long, and the Masiketh tries to kill him.
Always a good way to go about trying to work out, is there a hole in my player's plan? Ooh, there is. Let's drive a truck through it.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
So, that being said, as a DM to start with, what's the weirdest thing or the most controversial thing you've had to do in a game to keep it going?
So there's been a couple of times where I've had players... So there's one, actually, I can think of as a really good example. I had a player die really early on. Basically, he fell off a building and kind of hit the ground. And I was like, okay, well, I need to work out where they are right now. I can't just give them a resurrection school. That doesn't make sense. But I don't want this player to just be sitting around doing nothing. So I created a druid and went, okay, well, here's a druid. He's over here. And he will cast a reincarnate spell. And the part of the reincarnate spell is you come back as a different race and whatever. Okay, they go retrieve the incense, because I think the hero component is the same as Raise Dead, but just slightly different in terms of the physical thing. So he goes off, gets that, come back, they reincarnate him. He comes back as a dwarf. The player doesn't like this, though, and a lot of the other players are like, okay, yeah, fine, we'll carry on with this. And I went, okay, the player doesn't like this. I don't want to have to deal. I think I understand why he doesn't like this, because his character had a certain idea about how this is. Okay, I'll introduce Tomb of Annihilation as part of this, and I'll speed up the Death Curse. And it's like this really kind of like, and he went through this climactic battle with a vampire and everything, and he was dying the whole time, and the Death Curse was just ripping him apart, and then he died at the end of the battle, and it gave the player a very good climactic ending. But then all of a sudden, the Death Curse is running rampant, and it's like, there were NPCs that I had known would probably have been resurrected, and I was just like, oh, that might, okay. So now I had that whole kind of thing going on, and it was just like this huge problem. But I was like, okay,
You've done yourself into a hole as a DM rather than try to solve the problem.
Yeah, so I've and then it was like, well, I've got all these things, and now they had a good reason to kind of go off and deal with the Death Curse. Then it was a very good, because I was dealing with it on the fly. I was going, well, I need to make sure this still goes forward kind of thing, and everyone stays happy. It's like, and the player who had his character die twice was actually fairly happy with kind of the ending that he got, because it was still memorable and everything else. Because that's the one thing that players don't like, is that they don't want a immemorable or just forgotten death. They want something that's memorable. Even his original death, where he fell off a building, everyone still remembers. At least in my little group, because they go, "Do you remember that time that Isaac fell off the building? Haha, that's how he died." It's like, yeah, because it's funny, because it's silly, because adventurers shouldn't die by just falling off buildings. But sometimes that's kind of how it goes.
Do you ever, another question as DM, do you ever botch a roll behind the screen just to leave some, like, not a complete TPK, basically?
I've never botched a roll where it was going to cause a TPK. I figured just let the dice roll but I have botched a roll when I'm like, you know what? This feels like this should succeed. This feels like a player needs to succeed here, because what they're attempting to do is so cool that I don't kind of care what the dice say at this point. I want them to do this. But I don't do it that often, because it's like, well, if I do it too often, the reward kind of gets tainted. There isn't enough. There needs to be enough bad so that the good looks that good. So when they try, it's really cool. So, yeah.
I mean, a few of the group that are here now, I think 3 of them, the first time they ever did any role playing at all, we did the Lost Minds of Vandaliva, the starter pack.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they were so bad and so unlucky with the dice that they were all going to die on the ambush at the very beginning of the game. And I was like, oh shit, I've got to do something here. I can't tell them what I'm rolling behind the screen, because it's just they're all going to die. So the wizard in the group had a very good frost ray or something like that, rolled high for the attack, and I said, okay, cool. So basically it freezes all the leaves, and now you can see all the hidden goblins, so they don't get disadvantage to hitting them with arrows and stuff like that. It's like, please win, just please win. And I'm sitting there for the next 10 minutes of rolling dice going, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up.
Yeah. That's the kind of, Lost Minds of Phandelver, especially those early levels, because I was having a conversation with another DM about this, and it's like, how bad, how dangerous is those levels? Really freaking dangerous.
If you've got new players, this is the other thing. It's like, you've got that starter set, and they give everyone a level 1 character, and they all think that they're the hero, because they're all computer game characters, players, so they all think that they're the star of the game, and they think they're going to breeze through it easily, and then when it starts going to shit, they all start really panicking.
Yeah, very quickly. Yeah. I have seen that a couple of times, where that video game mentality kind of bites people in the ass, and they kind of think, well, I'm the hero in every video game I play, I must be the hero in D&D. It's like, well, you are, but you also have the fact that you're still mortal. You don't have plot armor like your video game character does. You are vulnerable, especially at level 1.
Another question as a DM, I mean, that going in from a who thinks they're a video game hero, the problem we have most of the time is one player we have thinks he's the hero constantly, and because he's not, he has developed into he has his player's handbook open constantly. Everything that happens, he's checking it every time. So when it comes around to his turn in combat, he's checking the last person's combat from about 3 turns ago, and you're like, what do you want to do? And it's like, hang on, do you find that as a DM, you get some people that are too involved in the rules that it slows games down completely?
Luckily I haven't had one of those yet. I haven't had a rules lawyer just yet.
We call them Nazis, but
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But I have had a couple. I've had one interesting person, and luckily it wasn't one I was DMing, because he was playing with me, and he was definitely on the more rules lawyery side of things, and it was kind of a case of channeling that rules awareness and down the right path, and saying, look, you don't need to do it for yourself, because that's important, because you feel that's important to you, but you don't need to do it for everyone else, because if at the end of the day, rule zero is the most important one. DM rules. Whatever he says goes. Whatever he says, So whatever he says goes, and everything else kind of doesn't matter. The fact that it's in the PHB doesn't matter if the DM rules against it. He might just go. The counterpoint to that, however, is you need to be consistent. You can't rule one way and then rule a different way the next time. You have to be consistently ruling the same way. And that way people kind of can know what to expect. Because that's the whole thing, is knowing what to expect.
But with my experiences, I try and be as even as possible to all the rules, as much as I can, as much as I can remember. There's a lot of there, and I don't want to be sitting through the book. Yeah, I don't want to be sitting through the book either. But when they contest it, and then they start blaming other people on the table, I'm like, dude, shush. Just get on with the game. And everyone's telling him, DM rules. And he's like, no, but it says here in the book. It's like, take the book off him and just sit down and roleplay.
Yes. I've not had it that bad yet. We did have, like, the biggest thing that I think a lot of I've seen other DMs and other players forget this, is that you need to talk to each other. And I think some players forget that they can talk to other players about problems they're having. And they also forget they can talk to other DMs and say, hey, I'm having this problem, can you help me? Because the player, like when I was describing earlier with the player with the guy who got turned into a dwarf, he came and talked to me immediately and said, I'm not happy. And I was like, okay, what can we do to fix this? Yeah. And it was like, and it took a long time to get to that level of comfort and that kind of level of honesty as well, because basically he was saying, the decision you made to reincarnate me was wrong, and I don't like it. And it's, so... and it took some courage. So I have great respect for that, kind of be able to say, I don't agree with the decision you've made, and can we do something to fix this? And it was like, yeah, that's fine, because you are unhappy as a player in a game that I'm trying to run, so I want to make sure you guys are happy and having fun. So it is the case of, I think most problems can be solved by talking to other people and talking to your players, and having your players have the courage to talk to you when they have problems as well. So
I think that's why here at Dem Drunk Blokes Studio, we're quite lucky to have people that all know each other anyway. So if something is not going quite right, completely out of character, not on game day, we can have a chat and talk about it. Like, I've had a character who was a kleptomaniac, and he stole the diamond off of the sorcerer who was trying to do chromatic orb. The sorcerer goes, I get out my diamond and cast chromatic orb with electrical energy. And I was like, your diamond's gone. And as a player, he knew who stole it. But, as a character, he didn't. And that caused massive problems for about a week out of character.
Yeah.
So we then chat about it and how the game works and everything else, and he was like, "Oh, okay, but can we get it back round to the fact?" And I give him another 50 gold worth diamond in the next adventure. So it's all over.
Yeah. You sort those problems out, like, one way or another, kind of. But yeah, it was just talking about it. So.
Okay, so just away from the DMing quickly, I need your strangest player experience. Your best story from any game you've ever played, and then we're going to say goodbye, I think, because it's early.
It has been early in the morning. Okay, so I can give you the strangest and the best player experience at the same time. So I played, because it's a little weird. So I played a character called Jadis Tregaris. He was a wizard. I think he started out as a conjuration wizard, and
what the fuck was that?
I don't know. Wasn't on my end.
I think it was a fox running past the door.
Oh.
Anyway, start that from the beginning. I'll let it that bit out.
Okay, so the strangest and the most memorable player experience I ever had was I played a wizard called Jadis Tregaris. It was a conjuration wizard that started out as, and then I eventually migrated when the Unearthed Arcana for Lore Master came out. I migrated him to that. Right. But that's not the bit that's kind of important here. The important bit is here. There was an incident with a group of techno techno wizards or techno priests or something like that, and they basically went completely crazy. They decided they're going to attack people in the streets and all kinds of things. And they were ruling over the Artificers Guild, I think it was.
Right.
And as part of this, we sent a child from one side of the city to another to relay a message, because we were like stalking this other guy, and we were like, okay, we're going to send this a message across. Jadis worked on a set of rules. You viewed the world as, here is a set of rules. I must follow these rules, and that's how I work. I didn't base him on alignment. I didn't give him any kind of that kind of thing. I just went, okay, here's a set of rules that Jadis has that he always must follow. And one of the rules he has is you must never harm children. You must never hurt children. When that child was going across, he was killed by the machinists as part of their thing. Jadis saw this, went, okay, now all the machinists are bad. Because in his mind, that's how it worked. And so he went, okay, but they're protecting the Arcanist Guild. So he went to the Arcanist Guild later on and said, if you don't give me a meeting with them and turn themselves in, I will blow up this entire guild. And he was level 5 at the time. A huge guild, hundreds of Arcanists, and they were like, just like, no way are you going to be able to do this. He had spent 2 weeks, and I had spent all his gold setting up glyphs of warding all around the city, pointed at this Arcanist Guild with fireball spells inside of them. And he went, and so the head of the Arcanist Guild went, no way can you do this. And Archana said, no, and he told him exactly what he was doing. He's like, no, we've got, magical defenses. And he said, I've dispelled those. Because Jadis just goes, and he just keeps going. And then she shoots him, I think. He goes, ow, blows her up because he's a wizard and he has access to fireball spells, kills her. The rest of the Arcanists come in. They go, what happened? I killed, and because that's how it works, Jadis says, I killed this because she wouldn't do this. And they go, but that's not right. And he goes, but you need to surrender now. And they're all pointing their guns at him because that's what they did. And then he blew up the Arcanist Guild, escaped, jumped out the window, and ended up in the lake. Because he blew up a very large, important structure, he got caught almost immediately. And as part of that, they took him to the prison. They said, we're going to... there was like a whole big roleplay thing with the other player characters saying, why did you do this? Why did you kill this many potentially innocent people? It's like, well, they're not innocent people because they allowed all these people to kill children because that's the way his mind worked. And he went off to prison, and as part of going to prison, they said, we're going to torture you for information, because he had information on because there was an anti-magic sentiment in general, and kind of Jadis was triggering this whole thing of kind of going into a more aggressive stance. And they said, we're going to torture you for the underground information of these other wizards that we know you know. And Jadis went, okay. He went to his cell. He was guarded by 4 people. And when they all turned their backs, he hung himself to protect the rest of them. He just went, because that, and my DM went, what? And I found out later he had planned an entire rescue operation for him. They were going to go out, and the other players were going to go after us. It's like, yeah, that's not going to work.
Wow, talk about fuck it up. One, amazing to get that many, just from start to finish, that story was amazing. What can I do? That was brilliant. Okay, so to wrap this up, where can people find you? Promote yourself, and then we'll.
So, you can either follow me on Twitter. I'm DM Dango on Twitter, or you can find me on my YouTube channel, which is it's also DM Dango. I also stream Twitch on. It's a little bit sporadic at the moment, but it's also DM. It's DM_Dango on that one. Weirdly, but I streams every Sunday. I'm doing my Tomb of Annihilation game. So that's where you can find me.
Okay, so another guest to add into the Dem Drunk Blokes
Dem Drunk Blokes interview list. You have just met DM Django. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you later. Bye.
See ya.